So I ask you, what do your feelings mean to you? If you don't know how to answer that question, allow me to continue to show you how creative emotional intelligence can impact your life. If you said my feelings, they don't mean anything to me because you're numb, because you become desensitized like war era veteran Marines, you have the same PTSD I do probably, I wouldn't doubt it, and you're numb and you don't know, like it's just like this numbness, this I don't knowness, this like desolate hopelessness because your feelings have not been given much life. It almost feels like you have no life. I've been there. I have the cuts in my arm to prove it. I know what it's like to be destructive. The only way I can create creative emotional intelligence is by being the opposite. I've been in your shoes. I know what you're going through. I know what it feels to be depressed. I know what it feels like to be stressed. I know what it feels like to not even know. I know what it feels like to not even get out of bed. I know what it feels like to not want to do anything. I know what it feels like when someone talks to you and you literally cannot pay attention because your feelings, you're drowning in them. It's time to take them, dump them out. It's time to transform those bad days into our best days. It's time to transform our worst days into our best days. And that's why over the last 5 years of my life, I created the book, My Worst Days Are the Best, How to Transform Feelings to Fortune. Fortune is freedom. It's the liberation of this depression. It's the liberation of this sensation of numbness and having purpose and living a meaningful life and speaking the way I do, alive completely, because I've given so much life to my feelings. I've made 9,000 beats, over 40,000 hours, and I know you can't relate, but you can start today. You can start with coming to the workshop. You can start by having me help you take little baby steps about which feelings are the ones that you need to see, the patterns that you need to start paying attention to, and how these patterns can become the fuel for the freedom, which is going to be your fortune, which is going to be the expression, the liberation that you so deserve because you were born from the Creator to create. And so I hope that this little explanation of creative emotional intelligence has given you something new, something that you feel is important, something that you realize, I can't avoid this anymore. It's hard. A lot of us, we avoid pain, but by avoiding the pain of going to the gym, we keep the suffering of eating bad food. By avoiding the pain of having to learn, we experience the suffering of our ignorance. And so pain sometimes makes us feel bad, but it's not bad. We just have to learn a healthy way to understand these feelings, to realize that they're all good when we know what to do with them, when we can give them life, when we can give them creation. And you have feelings, so you are creative, and you are a creator. And that's why through creative emotional intelligence, you can learn to give life to all of your ideas. So if you do it with your feelings, and your feelings mean everything to you, imagine what you could do when you start feeling like you can believe in your ideas. You'll build tomorrow's buildings. Your children will build tomorrow's spaceships. Your children's children will colonize Mars. Your children's 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 children will live on space, because they've cultivated a relationship with their feelings in creation so much that they believe in the ability for them to express and constantly create and challenge themselves and experience that growth and that sense of self-esteem and feeling good about themselves, because they realize that no obstacle can come against them when they can create. And by having that relationship over time with creation, then they believe that they're creators because they trust the fact that they've produced 1,000 things of 1,000 different bad days that they transform into great days. And now that really beautiful idea comes and they start creating that spaceship, or they start creating that new revolutionary technology that's going to clean the world and preserve the weather and do all these things. So parents, teachers, cousins, brothers, grandparents, uncles, aunties, all of you, if you love yourself and you love your children and you love, period, please come and be a part of creative emotional intelligence. I promise you that I will help you take the very next step so that we can teach our children how to cultivate creation. So that when your kids become creators, as adults, they stay in creation, and as parents, they teach their children to create. And we become a nation of creative, emotionally intelligent people. That is my theory of relativity, and it will come true. Thank you so much for listening and paying attention.